All right, so here is the Pearl Maple set. I'll give you some background on the set. It is a Contempo. This is from the 1982 Pearl catalog. It is a Contempo 3 model 7222. These are the M series, so they're the maple shells. I believe, and it's going to be hard to track it down, but I believe these are Keller shells. I'm doing some more research online to pinpoint exactly if these are Keller shells. But nonetheless, they're maple shells. Either they're made in Japan by Pearl or they were made in Nashville, and these are Keller shells. They have the coffin style lugs, which kind of leads me to believe that they are the Keller, but nonetheless, good maple shells. What you'll notice on let me go through the sizes first, because this is kind of a unique set. The only thing I don't like about it, there's no snare drum, matching snare drum, which is a downer. The other thing is the bass drum is a 14 by 22 bass drum. I prefer a 16 by 22, but nonetheless, at that time period, 14 by 22 was pretty common. You'll notice they all have the original Pearl heads on them. They're pretty beat. The guy I got them from had actually taken the original heads off, put on pinstripes. He's trying out different head combos, and ultimately put the Pearl ambassadors back on. So, kind of interesting sizes here, and I like it. I've never played anything more than a 4-piece kit before. My original Pearl kit, I took the 12-inch tom on, put it on the shelf. It looks like it's brand new, and that's also from the 80s. So 14 by 22-inch bass drum. Let's see here. Where's the small one? I have it on here. This is a 6.5 by 10-inch tom. And then you've got an 8 by 12, 9 by 13, 10 by 14, and then a 16 by 16, which I like, a 16 by 16 floor tom. And the way I'll post a picture to it, the way they had it set up in this catalog is a little weird because they had a normal, almost like a 5-piece setup, and then they put 2 toms up and to the left instead of having being contiguous all the way around. They kind of put them up and out of the way above the hi-hat, kind of weird. But nonetheless, those are the sizes we're dealing with. I'm kind of excited to get these open. I'm going to take some care to make sure I can put the badges back on and everything. So I will film it as we go through, but and to see what we get into here. But I'm pretty excited to get started on this project. The more research I do, the more careful I want to be with these drums. Not a lot of value to them, but kind of rare if they're the Keller shells, and nonetheless, they're going to sound great. There's people that I see that are still playing these kits. If you have them, they sound great. People play them forever. So I'm looking forward to get started. So there you go, original Pearl Ambassador head. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I hate to throw them out. It's like, what is that, 40 some year old head? Oh yeah, you can see inside here. I'll do a close up. Those are nice looking shells. I'm excited. All right, now the bottom ambassadors, you can probably switch these around. These are actually, they're stretched out a little bit, but they're in pretty good shape. They haven't been beaten on. So again, a little bit of history there. All right, so there you can see the inside. Bearing edges have like 40 years of dust on them. Again, these were played, but I think this is all coming off the shells, or off the hoops. All right. Not looking too bad on the inside there. If you can see, I'll do a close up here, but yeah. Want to make sure we save these badges, get it all off real clean. So I'm gonna take a lot more care on these than I did with the junkie set. So it's gonna take some time. Okay, that kind of sucked. The grommet hole here I thought was gonna be easy. I was trying to actually save the grommet because it just went in and was flattened out, but that couldn't save the grommet. But worse is I was trying to save the Pearl badge, the 80s Pearl badge here, and then the maple shell badge here. And unfortunately, I couldn't get the little nails out without doing it. So I gotta figure out a solution for that. It looked like they were taped down. I tried to pry it up. I use these automotive plastic tools, so I try not to damage anything. But oddly, it was because they're so old, they just cracked. So I got to see if I can find some on the internet to replace them because I really want to put them back on. when the drum's done. So I want to move on now. I'm going to get the heat gun out, and I'm going to take off the wrap and see what we're working with. Okay, a little unexpected. Hit the heat gun on the wrap. Only 2 pieces of tape, as you can see, so this hopefully won't be too bad. I think I learned my lesson on the last thing. I'm not going to sand it, goop it up, go through the veneer, or the top ply, I mean. But the other thing is, so when I hit the heat gun on this, probably because it's, again, what's it, 42 years old, something like that. It actually has a backing, like a silver backing, and the top is actually almost like a Vista-like clear. You can see through this. So I'm guessing that was for the effect, to give it the shine. So it reflected, so it wasn't just plastic wrap. Anyways, you can see it started to separate out from the top. So, anyways, not too bad. Again, it wasn't glued all the way around, which I didn't expect. Pearl's kind of known for doing the tape like this, so hopefully this will be easy to get off, and this will be 1 down, and what was that? 5 more to go. All right, first one done. The 6.5 by 10. You can see this is where the tape was, or the glue tape adhesive. I did 120. I did use the sander. I got impatient, but I was really careful. Was able to get it off. Then I went back over the whole drum with 220. Probably should have hit it with some degreaser. I'll probably do that up here on the bearing edge. It just has a lot of grime on it for being so old. You can kind of see here that's grime, and I don't want to sand too close to the bearing edges, so I'll get this all cleaned up. But there you go. That's the first one done. 5 more to do. All right. This go around, I'm trying to avoid jacking up the emblems, right? So you can see here, I blew out of the side because I tried to pry it up, at least on this side. I tried to pry it up, and then this one got all mangled, right? So what I'm doing this time is I'm going to try to take it off with the wrap to see if I can get leverage underneath, and it doesn't bend, because the nails come out pretty easy, but it's getting enough leverage without breaking the badge. So I'm going to try that on this go around. And I'm going to film it, so if I screw it up, you can see what I did. All right, you can also see here, this is the wrap as it's coming off. So I am going to, there's nothing holding it down right now except for this badge. So I'm just going to try to work it, maybe with one of these, and just see if I can pry it out without messing up the badge. Oh, you know what I need to do? There's tape on it. So I need to pry a little bit of it. I might even hit it with this. Since there's tape underneath, maybe loosen it up a little bit. Aha, there you go. 1, 2, perfect. So now that's intact. The nails are out. I should be able to just pull this right out. And I preserved with myself a 42-year-old pearl badge that I can reuse on this one. So I'm going to do the same thing with the maple one here. And again, even though I effed up the first one, the second go around, see if I can do it, just hit it with a little bit of heat. So I got that one out too. And then I don't want to rip anything there, so I'm going to leave this for the time being. here. Hopefully I'm not messing it up too much. Do want to save the nails too. I can reuse them. All right. So that part of the wrap's off. The thing again I wanted to highlight here is by not trying to get these off ahead of time, I was able to kind of, this one got the maple shell one is really thin, but I should be able to pound that back out. Save the nails, save all this so I can reuse them when I'm done. Then all I gotta do here is finish this up, get that off, get as much of the glue off as possible, hit it with the 120 using the orbital sander, and then I'll do 220 by hand, and then this shell will be ready to go. Okay, so quick update. Couple things about this bass drum. Got all the other drums done. Everything's going pretty smooth, following the same process. Couple things about this one. You can see the wrap is kind of getting brittle. I'm guessing because it was on the kind of the underside of the bass drum. There's also, you can see here, there's two seams, and they're pretty far apart. I mean, there's a pretty big gap here. If I measure it, goes from like right here under one of the tom legs or spurs over here. I mean, we're talking, I don't know, 18 inches. So at least one of the seams is visible. This one was on the bottom, but this one was on the side. So it's just interesting they didn't have enough wrap to go all the way around. And again, this is brittle, so I'm gonna, hopefully it does no issues underneath, like there's no water damage or anything. So we'll get to that in a second. Other thing on this one that maybe you picked up on in the picture that I didn't notice right away is there is no top tom mount, which is nice. There's no big honking thing in here, so this is kind of, I would say, a virgin on the top here. Other thing, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the video here, that is really cool is if you look at the inside of the drum, this is like a bird's eye maple. So I'm kind of curious when I get the wrap off of it, but you can see the little, none of the other drums had this, but you can see there's definitely a bird's eye maple in here. So hopefully it's on the outside. It would be cool if all the drums were a bird's eye maple on the outer ply, but so far I didn't notice that. So we'll go through all these when I'm done getting them all kind of prepped, and we'll kind of look at each drum and look at the finish, see how uniform it is. But I thought this was really cool, the fact that it was you can see bird's eye maple on the inside there. Okay, so got the first seam open, kind of cool. No tape on the drum, so a little less prep I'm going to have to do here. Also, you can probably see this is not bird's eye maple like there is on the inside, but still nonetheless very pretty drum. Now, I don't see quite as defined. I'll have to sand it, but I'm not seeing quite as defined as a maple outer ply on this, so it's interesting. The other drums, again, we'll look at these later, but the other drums have very defined maple wood pattern, and this one you can't see it quite as much. But hopefully, some sanding will bring that out. But anyways, no tape here, which make my life a little easier so far. Okay, so quick update. I've got the pearl kit, all the wrap removed, all sanded. The shells are looking really good. I got all the adhesive off from the tape. I do have a couple of dents that I need to fill with some wood filler just to make sure I have a feeling when I apply the stain and then also finish coats, those will start to show, and I want it to look really good. So I started doing more research kind of after the fact into making sure that I could put a water-based polyurethane like this Bear that I ultimately landed on over top of a gel-based stain, a gel oil-based stain. Which is what I landed on with the Jungle Finishes. So I started to think that was part of my problem. Like when I went through, particularly on like the gloss where it got all patchy, and I went down like a YouTube rabbit hole of, kind of the things you need to do. It's totally, General Finishes says you can totally put a water-based polyurethane on top of an oil-based finish, but there are things you need to do. You need to let it completely dry out. You need to actually rub it and clean it to make sure that there's all the stain is gone, or any loose stain is gone, and then you put over the water-based polyurethane. So I was like, okay, I think that's good. I think I'll be able to do that. So I went out, got the full can of the oil-based general finishes, and then I got I have the polyurethane that I need to use in a satin finish, and we're going to go for this. And then I was going around the internet, and I found what's going to be my next project, which I found this beautiful 3-piece custom-made set, right? And I was wasn't sure what the shells were, but I was thinking maybe these are Keller shells or something. So I bought this set online. It's beautiful, and when I got it home, I was like, this is kind of what I'm looking for from the finish. I want a very flat sheen, right? And I want the wood grain to show through. And I found out that these are actually custom-made drums from a gentleman named Jeff Kirsch. I think his site is called Kirsch Drums. He's based out of Portland. This set was an early set of his. I think it was early. It was from 2002. He kind of, I don't know if you can see it, but he signed it on the inside. And it was basically a 3-piece kit that he made. It's a 13, a 16, and a 20-inch bass drum. But really beautiful set. So I don't want to refinish or anything. I just want to fix it. There's a couple of spots I want to fix it and get it back and use it as a player's kit. Because it's really cool, really light. Trying to figure out what the shells are. But anyways, I emailed Jeff and asked a couple of questions. And he said that this is an aniline dye, which I was like, I don't know what that is. So I did a little research of what an aniline dye is. And it's covered with an instrument lacquer. So did some more research, and it turns out aniline dye is what a lot of custom guitar makers use to get that really nice, let the wood grain show through. And then the instrument lacquer is also a very special type of lacquer. Now, I couldn't find that. I don't have to buy it online. But before we go that far, I want to test out using an aniline dye. So I know everybody thought I was done, right? We went through and we tested out the different types of dyes. But the aniline dye is a powder. And you can mix it with water, you can mix it with rubbing alcohol, and you can change it, you can mix it together. It actually comes with 5 different colors that you can mix together. And again, some of the videos I watched, you can see where they put a black underneath to pop the wood grain, and then they'll go over with a purple or a red or a sunburst. Looks really good. So I'm going to do that before I fully commit to the dye I'm going to use. The other thing is, the more and more videos I watch, the more I kind of pay attention to this, and the more time I spent with the Pearl kit getting it sanded and ready to go, is that this exercise on this cheap drum set is there's literally no wood grain in here. And I really want it, that's really what I want to make sure is it kind of represents, or I can replicate kind of what this custom made drum has, where you can get the maple or the wood grain to pop through. So what I'm going to do when I test out this dye to make sure I get it right is I picked something. I couldn't find a scrap piece of maple, but I found this old scrap that I had. It's got a hole drilled in it. But you can see it's got a nice, it's got some nice wood grain on it. So I'm going to test the aniline dye on this as opposed to this. I might throw some on here while I have it just to see, kind of side by side. But I'm going to use this piece of wood to see how the wood grain comes through. I might try a couple different different amount of powder and water to ratio just to see how it comes out. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to test it with I just got some spray satin lacquer, just because again, some of the videos I watch, you could kind of spray it on, see how it looks. So I'm going to do that, follow the instructions, and then if I like this better, I'm going to go this route instead of going with the oil-based gel, the general finish is black with the satin polyurethane. So that's what we're going to do next. I'll walk you through this, show you the steps on how I stain this.